What's up, everybody? Station, welcome to PCP Movie Night. Happy St. Patty's Day. Top of the morning to you, laddies. And happy kegs and eggs and all that bullshit. But welcome to our show tonight. Continuing March Madness here on PCP Movie Night with Leprechaun. It is St. Patrick's Day. I couldn't think of a better movie to do here on this channel for St. Patrick's Day other than Leprechaun. I haven't seen this movie since the 90s. It's not necessarily something I consider my favorite, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have rewatched it, but also even more excited to talk about it with our crazy, awesome panel tonight, including Jelani. What is up, my man? How you doing? Happy St. Patty's Day.
Whew, happy St. Patty's Day. What the fuck, man? I mean, seriously. Well, I haven't seen this movie since the 90s either, and there's a reason. I'm glad to be here, though. Try as it will, try as it might. You know, all the steals me goals won't live through the night and stuff like that. I'm so excited to hear about the Leprechaun. And
I'm happy you're here, man. You got some Jameson around you, man.
I got some Jameson. I got some Jameson, but I also got dark stuff too.
We had to do it, right? Like, cheers, Jelani.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah, we have to do that.
I had to cut it, man, because good God.
All right. What's really funny is this is a dude who is so PCP that when he's cut, he bleeds pop culture philosophers. This guy's been there from before the beginning of PCP, but he's not on every PCP movie night. He's not even on the majority of PCP movie nights. So when he chooses to be on PCP movie night, I know it's a monumental moment, usually involving a milestone movie. Hammer Time Holshu, why the fuck did you pick Leprechaun? What the fuck, man?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think what hit me is you're like, hey, we should do Leprechaun on St. Patty's Day. And I thought, that might be fun. That might be fun. And I've been on a diet, so no Guinness, even though I drink my share of Guinness. But I do have some green tea.
Whatever. Regardless of your diet, this is the day of the year you can drink Guinness, man.
I'm also not Irish. I'm Dutch and German, so it's not like, you know. Anyway, I do drink a lot of Guinness.
You're really selling the point to do Leprechaun on St. Patty's Day.
I do. It was, quite the rewatch. It's been over 30 years, man. So I'm excited that I've rewatched it and excited to talk about it with you fine gents.
Hell yeah. All right. Surely this is not this gentleman's first time watching this movie, but it's Brooks. Tell me if this is not your first time watching Leprechaun.
It is actually.
Holy shit!
Yeah, really? I've never seen this movie. Well, not all the way through. I'd seen like bits and pieces here and there. I never actually just sat and watched the thing. But you know, this is a movie that has a reputation, as you might say. So
you lost your Leprechaun V card.
Well, I finally finished out. Like the black hole has been filled now, and I can go on with my life a little happier. Watch this stupid fucking Leprechaun
before in life, he was just not happy in life.
Yeah, you know I'm never happy. Never.
All right, so we got another panelist, and this is a dude who's on very often. He's basically part of the show. He's part of the Excitable PCP crew, but like this dude is on here so many times, and he gets to pick the best movies that we do. But he also likes to pick some whoppers. And for some reason, Joe Corallo is here tonight for Leprechaun.
It's true. I am here. I figured you needed someone who actually had like Irish American heritage here. And my family, they came over in the 1920s. They weren't some bitches who came here during the potato famine, and they sucked it up. They fled in part because of IRA stuff. Anyway, but no, it's all good.
I love how
Joey Pants has Joey O Pants.
Man. I love how 2025 PCPX is the year of the heel. Yeah. Joe's been doing the year of the heel for a while.
Yes. Yes.
I swear to God, when he said somebody who, and then he said Irish, but I thought he was going to say somebody who's seen an actual leprechaun. That's what I thought this was fucking going.
I thought he was about to be like, as the only person who has seen all the Leprechaun movies in the theater in New York.
I don't even think they all got released yet, actually.
I gotta say though, this is no Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space. Absolutely not. But
God, he goes to space.
we're gonna get into it, and I guess there's there's the Irish side, and then the rainbow side. I can claim that too. So there's a lot to claim here.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it, y'all. Leprechaun. And we see you out there in the chat. Join along in the conversation. Leprechaun, a 1993 movie. A 900,000 million, I almost said. $900,000 budget. Just shy of $1 million. It made 8.5. They've made 7 of these motherfuckers, right? There's Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3. And by the way, me and everybody else in my life that I was talking to this last week kept confusing Leprechaun 2 for part 1, including me.
Wow.
Including me. I was like, oh yeah, he comes back. He's trying to marry this young girl. Nope, that's Leprechaun 2. Apparently that was the one I watched the most. But this movie is written and directed by Mark Jones. How do we know Mark Jones, y'all? Do y'all know? Does anybody know? He's the writer. He's the writer-director of Leprechaun. He's also the writer and director of 1995's Rumpelstiltskin. So I guess it didn't work with Leprechaun. Wow. So he kept going on. But he's done a lot of television work, y'all. He did television work on Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels, the all-new Super Friends, What's New, Mr. Magoo, a personal favorite of mine, Scooby's Laugh Olympics, as well as the Plastic Man Show from 79 to 80, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, Heathcliff, The Fall Guy, Mr. T, the cartoon.
Mr. T!
You ready for this? A writer of the most underappreciated animated series from the 80s, Turbo Teen. Also a writer on Alf, Werewolf, and you ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Do y'all remember the when we talked about Police Academy at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? Or last year, actually. You remember that shit?
Yes.
You remember we talked about the TV series, Short-Lived?
Yeah.
He's a writer of the Police Academy TV series as well.
Jesus Christ.
But he somehow created. Oh, he also did Nightman. Y'all remember Nightman?
James Bond
He
Jr.
also
worked on some episodes of that.
He did Cowboys of Moo Mesa. He did Mega Man.
So he's like a
he did
studio writer.
Rubik the Amazing Cube. Have y'all watched that? That show's fucking insane.
That's the Rubik's Cube show, right?
Yeah.
I never watched it. Have you?
No.
I've watched that. I've never watched it sober. I've only watched it not sober as an adult. But it's great.
Well, the one crazy thing that Mark Jones did in his life, aside from work on, apparently he had a very illustrious career in television animation, right? Worked on a lot of big shows. Heathcliff is a personal favorite of mine.
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing that he really did was fucking create the Leprechaun franchise, which has been a direct-to-video staple, only outshined by The Howling, Children of the Corn, and Hellraiser as far as direct-to-video sequels go, right? But, yeah, he's been to space. He's been in the hood 2 times. And the Leprechaun has also been rebooted a couple of times. They even did the Halloween 2018 kind of requel vibe with him for Halloween Returns. Let's talk about this movie, y'all. I'm not a fan of Leprechaun. Never have I been, okay? I've never been a fan of this movie, okay? I don't own it on Blu-ray. I watched this shit on wherever the hell it was. I think it was on I don't remember, but I watched it on some streaming site. It's on Peacock, yeah.
It's on Peacock.
I watched it on Peacock. And it had a couple commercials in the middle of it, and I didn't give a shit because it gave me a chance to go, get some more pistachios and go take a whiz and grab another beer or something like that. So this was a movie that I vividly remember in my childhood, but apparently I kept getting it confused with part 2 because 1 and part 2 in particular were movies we had in our limited VHS collection when I was a kid, right? In the 90s. We had Leprechaun, we had Leprechaun 2. We watched them all the time. I remember watching Leprechaun 2 more because there was a boob shot in that one. I thought that boob shot was in this movie. It's not. It's in part.
Aniston never showed the boobs until later.
Yeah, it's in part 2, so maybe Leprechaun 2 for next year. But I remember watching this movie all the time and being annoyed with it, not liking it. And then, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, you hit the snobby Robbie period. That's the period where John, Jelani, and Brooks all met me. And I was super snobbish, right? And
quite.
Maybe I've corrected some of that, but I've never given this franchise a chance. I've seen 1, I've seen 2. I don't think I've seen any other movie, right? Because I never saw the one where he was in Vegas. I never saw the In the Hood or the space ones. And y'all just know what's going to happen one day here. We're going to do the Leprechaun franchise. It's just what's going to happen one day. So get ready, y'all. But I will say this on the rewatch. This was my best experience with this movie. I watched it last week, Tuesday night after I did the weekly comic book review. I was sober as shit. I was a little high, but like otherwise I wasn't drinking or anything like that. I watched the movie and yeah, man, there were like, it was so obvious. It was so typical, but it's kind of fun. And it's fun because of Warwick Davis's deliciously, gleefully evil performance. Like he's great, right? I don't like Terrifier 1 and 2, but I do like 3. But I typically am not a fan of the Terrifier franchise at this point. But I think Art the Clown is a iconic horror villain, right? I feel the same way about Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun. There's a lot of fun moments in this movie. It's a coolish movie enough. It's not great. It's not, you must watch this movie, but I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it a little bit. I think it's a cool, fun movie to watch. It's got a seasonal vibe to it. If this is a movie that me, Jelani, and Brooks and John are hanging out, and Joe, I don't know if it's worth flying down to Alabama, but if you were here in Alabama and we were all drinking bottles and bottles of Jameson watching this movie, I think we would all have a good time watching this movie. Alone by yourself sober, it's all right, but it gave me a new appreciation for this movie. I kind of like it. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was throughout my entire life. It's not great. It's definitely not good, but it's not bad. And it's a fun movie to be a St. Paddy's Day themed horror comedy, in my opinion. You out there in the chat, what do you think? Jelani, kick us off here, man. What do you think?
I did the bit.
And nobody told you. That was great.
Okay. What I was saying when I was muted, fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. Other than Warwick Davis' performance, and oddly, the kid, I think every performance is trash. It's just like Jennifer Aniston's most annoying person on planet Earth in this movie. Like, she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to be there. Oh, cute guy. I want to be here. She's stuck up. I'm a vegan, and I have to tell you that I don't eat meat and all that stuff. And he shows her the shoes. I think that's cute. There's certain parts of this movie where I think are cute and funny, but at the same time, I think this Leprechaun should have been much scarier. I think Warwick Davis should have been way more menacing than he is in this movie. This is like a comedy that's trying to be a horror movie, and you can tell. Like, and we're gonna get into this deeper. I just wanted to get all this out of the way to say this: the music, it insists upon itself. It insists upon itself. It's very like there should be parts of this movie where there's no sound. To be honest, to get the fear, like when he's running through the cop is running through the forest, and the Warwick Davis is like chasing him That shit should be scary as fuck, but it's not because the music's like. There are a lot of scenes in this movie that are good. There are a lot of shit in there that is terrible, but the terrible outweighs the good in this film. I didn't watch the last time I saw this. I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or no. I was in middle school when this came out. That's right. Everybody was talking about this movie, and they were talking about other shit too. But I was like, I don't want to watch it. So my cousin took me to see it. So I saw this in the theater. I didn't like it, man. It wasn't as disappointing as the Flintstones, but it's disappointing.
Don't talk shit about the Flintstones, man. That's a great movie. Halle Berry, Kyle MacLachlan, get the fuck out of here, man.
Oh, what was it? Flintstones.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
Super Mario.
We'll talk about that in less than a month from now.
I'm so excited. I'm the most excited I've ever been. I don't want to shit on your movie choice, but this is a bad movie choice, even though it is St. Patrick's Day. So it's worth it. And
you pick another fucking March Madness St. Patty's Day movie. What do you got? Like Boondock Saints? Fuck that. Fuck that.
Boondock Saints. I love Boondock Saints. The first
This movie is on the level of Boondock Saints, in my opinion.
It's not Irish enough. This needed an Irish villain. I'm sorry. It needed to have an Irish, like a buff, angry, drunk Irish guy in it that's like fighting this leprechaun. Like he knows all the tropes. You needed that guy. You know the guy that was in Jason Goes to Hell?
This movie needed a Dr. Loomis?
It needed Loomis. Yes. It needs a Loomis, and it needs that guy that showed up in the middle of it. And it's so weird.
Need a Creighton Duke?
It insists upon itself. It's a movie that insists upon itself. It's so much work. It's like, you could make this better. This movie could have been better, but it was written by like a studio guy who wrote a bunch of studio cartoons, and he's like, he wants to zip, zap, zoop, but he's not building suspense or terror. This didn't scare me as a kid. This doesn't scare me now. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen the other ones because of this one. Because of the first one, I didn't watch the others. And not only was that a conscious choice, I was just like, I heard Leprechaun, and I was like, I can skip it. And it was on VHS, and tons of people had it. It's just, I didn't want to see it. And there's reasons. And we'll go deeper, but that's just my initial thoughts about how I feel about this movie. Like, it hurts me. It hurts me personally as a person that this could be better. This movie has so much potential to be so much fucking better than what it is. It just hurts my heart. That's all. I could have wrote fucking Leprechaun. That's been easy as fuck. Oh, Grady should have been the most Irish motherfucker you ever met. Like, stereotypically Irish. Like, awfully stereotypically Irish. To be the one that's fighting Warwick Davis. And they just have, like, their own, like, argument. And everybody's looking around. And they're like, oh, my God. What the fuck? Well, why are they arguing so much? And he's like, oh, I've got my shamrock. And whatever. And it should be that. And it's not that. And it should be. And that old guy should be in the other movies too. We should have found some old guy off the street or a character actor or somebody that plays just the most Irish guy you could meet and fight Warwick Davis. That's what I thought this movie should have been.
Okay. Well, I know we got Jay out there in the chat. So Jay, write this one down. Jelani's quote. This needs to be a t-shirt, John. We're going to get this set up. But Jelani said, personally, what did you say? It was like, you said personally, what the fuck did you say?
I don't know. We can rewind.
It was a really good quote. You said, personally, I don't like this movie. Fuck. I don't remember what you said, but it was funny as shit.
That's a quote.
It was a good quote. Joe, go back and think that.
I can rewind it later and we'll look at it.
We'll look at it later.
Potential shirt.
Whole shoe. You chose to be here tonight, man. And I get it. St. Patty's Day. Fuck it. Let's do Leprechaun. What do you think about it, bruh?
But I also haven't seen the movie in 30 years. I saw it summer of 94, rented it on VHS and watched it. And I was like, oh, I need to rewatch this. I told my nephew, hey, you want to watch this? You've never seen it? He said, yeah. He's going to start fucking hating me now. Because the last one we watched was Halloween 3. He did not enjoy that either.
Oh, fuck him then.
Well, that was an introduction to Halloween, and he's a kid.
That's
So,
a great introduction. It's a great movie.
I love that movie, but he was like, "What the fuck?" And he's 7. No, he's not 7. He's so much older than that. He's much older than that. But he was like, so I introduced him to Leprechaun. He thought it was interesting. I take issue with Delaney in the jokes because it felt like they were going for a later on Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy becomes more like Peter Parker, where he's got all these quips. That is kind of what they're doing. Warwick apparently brought to the table and wanted the humor. It could still be a horror film, but he wanted to be sort of funny.
Yeah, it was initially written as a straight horror film.
It could have been a straight horror film.
Warwick Davis kind of put his humor in, which I think actually
helps the film.
Helps the film. I almost said elevate. Elevate would be the wrong word. Delaney, what I think the quote was I think you said, personally, this movie offends me as a person, or it offends my person. I don't know. You said something like that. Like that's
it offends my personality. It does. It offends me as a person. It hurts my heart. The fact that movie exists.
I know you said that. This movie hurts my heart. That's a good one too. Whole shoe. Continue on, please.
So on the rewatch, again, 30-something years. I've not seen the original. I have seen the second one. I don't think I've seen anything past that. So anyway, on the rewatch, I thought it was a good bit of fun. It's not.
Hold on a second, John. Jay, that's the quote. You found it. It hurts me personally as a person. It just hurts my heart. I could have written fucking Leprechaun. That's the shirt. Yeah. That's the shirt right there.
I could have written fucking Leprechaun. Yeah. You're right.
And can we do that on the front, and then on the back, I want like a Leprechaun version of Delaney.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. I like it.
So you got to pay more for the double-sided, but I think it'd be worth it.
I want to be fighting Irish. So if you can find a side profile of me doing the fighting Irish.
Don't worry about that, man.
I'm kidding.
John, we got it, man. Anyway, continue on. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's not going to win it's not the greatest movie of all time, but it was a good bit of fun. I've never been a big Jennifer Aniston fan, but this movie, man, I changed my mind going back and watching this movie. I mean, it's not without flaws, but I just don't think it's not great, but it's also not that bad. We've actually discussed on this channel way worse fucking horror films.
True.
Way worse.
Very true.
So it's not the worst film, and it was fun on the rewatch. And again, Warwick Davis brings so much to the table, and it's a big part of my childhood, man. Fucking Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, which is my favorite Star Wars, and I get shit
Willow.
Willow, man.
Willow.
He's just a big part of my childhood.
Harry Potter, man. He's Flitwick, right?
Yeah,
yeah. He's in a lot.
Dude, he's only in his like 50s. Yep. I thought this dude was way older.
Young as fuck when he did Willow.
Was he like 7 years old when he did Jedi, like, man?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah,
he was young when he played Willow.
He was in Jedi. So I
thought the dude was super old, man.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job, and he steals the show as the Leprechaun, and especially the aesthetic of the Leprechaun. You know what I'm saying? He almost looks like he's a leprechaun.
He looks good.
And the makeup, by the way, is done by Rob Bottin. We'll get into that later on, but we know him, of course, and love him from The Thing.
I think that part sells it. I think he does a good job. So I don't think it's as bad, although I haven't seen it forever, and it's also not, I saw it on Peacock as well. I didn't run out and buy the Criterion Blu-ray.
My bad. It's not Rob Bottin. I just watched Fight Club last night.
Who did
Rob Bottin did Fight Club. I'm getting my movies mixed up. I'm sorry. I got another movie review tomorrow. I'm sorry.
We're doing Fight Club. Come watch.
Was it anybody that did the special effects that was of like gone on and done amazing films, or was it just some guy that like? I got to look it up now. Who did?
I don't know. Well, yeah, Wikipedia is not telling me who did the special effects. So. I think the Leprechaun makeup looks great. I really do.
It looks good.
It reminds me, the Leprechaun makeup reminds me of a friend of mine named Brooks. Brooks, I can't believe it. First time watching this movie, what did you think about it, bro?
This movie sucks.
Yes, it does. Yes.
But, it's not like, it sucks in a kind of way. It's kind of permissible. Like, I wouldn't say it's like I would watch this movie again. Like, it's amusing. It's not boring, but it does suck. It's dumb. Like everything. Like I did not think that the Leprechaun was scary, like at all. Like to me, it feels like basically like a comedy, but just like the Leprechaun just murders some people. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like a horror movie, really. It feels like some kind of quirky comedy adventure movie, but with like the Leprechaun just kills a few people. But, you know, I think I agree that Warwick Davis's performance is pretty delightful. You know, I think he carries a lot of this movie. I think his performance is kind of what gives it the lucky charm that it needs to become the cult
Fuck you,
classic.
Lucky Charms.
Yeah. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. And what a fucking shot, dude. Like right into his mouth. Like that's crazy, dude.
Good shot.
That kid was like Bart Simpson levels of slingshot.
Yes.
So you didn't you know it's not a good movie, but you liked it for what it was.
Yeah. Like I didn't hate it.
All right.
I do recognize that it's not good.
Brooks, he doesn't have to, but pretty much Brooks has to be here every week. And he has to watch the movies that I pick. Joe, you don't.
I signed a contract with a Leprechaun, and now I have to be on every piece.
That's true. That's true. Brooks met a fucking leprechaun at midnight at the crossroads out in fucking West Virginia.
Yep.
And learned how to be a bluegrass legend. Unfortunately, nobody cares about bluegrass, so PCP was his second option. Anyway, Joe, you get to pick these movies. You picked Leprechaun.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you think about it, my man.
Well, I mean, maybe I wouldn't have if I realized that this isn't even a full panel discussion, and we're just about a half hour in before we like get past initial thoughts. That's fucking crazy, guys. Stop it. Anyway,
you're still mad about the Blue Velvet review, aren't you?
You know, no, I love Blue Velvet. It was great, but no, man. It's here's the thing. Everyone has to keep in mind what the horror landscape was in 1993. Fucking garbage.
You're right.
Horror was dead. This is the same year that I think, what was it? Children of the Corn 2 came out. Jason Goes to Hell. Puppet Master 4. Amityville, like The Next Generation.
You ain't lying about
just fucking awful dread.
Early 90s horror kind of sucks, right? Yeah,
and that's like the best of the best. It's Return of the Living Dead 3, like just the fucking
that movie is goddamn genius, and don't you say otherwise with your poor fucking mouth, Joe Carallo, okay? Just so you know. All right, that movie is fucking genius. All right.
So it was a really rough fucking year for horror. It was just awful. That terrible like Robert Englund movie. What was that, like Night Terrors or whatever the fuck? Like just
I never even saw that one. I thought you were talking about 976 Evil.
No, just awful horror movie after awful horror movie. And like this kind of like the fact that it's more comedy than horror, whatever, is kind of a reflection of the direction these movies were going in general. You know, all of the slasher movie franchises by the early 90s were just goofs. You know, like it wasn't taking itself seriously anyway. So I think Leprechaun in a lot of ways is a reflection of that. And it was also the last time we got a new mascot, pre-Scream, like the revitalization of the genre, and the fact that there was enough interest in horror and horror mascots that this movie made a ton of money. It made almost twice as much in the video market. It was something like it made like, you know, 8.5 million or whatever at the box office, but it made like 15 million in the next like couple of years from like video rentals and shit. Yep. Like
that video rentals kept the franchise alive throughout the 90s, man.
Which is how we all saw it, right? Nobody here saw it theatrically, correct?
No. But like, but that's kind of huge in a lot of ways. And the fact that Leprechaun, the design of that character is so powerful that we all immediately recognize it. Like people who aren't even like that familiar go like, oh, that's the Leprechaun from the horror movie Leprechauns, or you know, it's it's really it's the last mascot from the slasher, era, the slasher mascot era, until we get to Scream, and then post Scream is its own category of, Ghostface and Jigsaw and all those characters. You kind of like divide that line. So like there's quality of the movie aside, it has a lasting impact on the genre.
Yeah, it really does. I'm glad you said that. I cannot wait until Leprechaun takes Manhattan. That's the one I've been waiting for. Bring Warwick Davis back. That would be super, super fun. Yeah, Nosferatu is a way better movie, 62. So yeah, just check us out on the replay. It's all good. And yeah, we should have definitely been doing Critters 4, I guess. But no, this is perfect to do in this. And let's shift the focus to the cast. I've been really nice these last few weeks. This is my show, y'all. I'm not fucking around tonight. My favorite performance is Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun. He's fucking awesome. He's great. He's great, dude. Like, he makes the fucking movie, right? Like John said, right? Like, he makes the fucking movie. Without Warwick Davis, this movie just sucks. It's not even close to Return of the Living Dead Part 3, which is the greatest horror film of 1993. If that's the year it came out, like, that movie is fucking awesome, Joe. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But Leprechaun is made because of Warwick Davis's performance. And honestly, think about this. I know that he was replaced in the, so WWE funded a Leprechaun reboot called Leprechaun Origins, where they got what's that the little dude's fucking, the little dude wrestler, I can't remember his fucking name.
Hornswoggle?
Yes, he played fucking the Leprechaun in that movie.
Jesus.
And it's not good. They tried to dip out on the comedy aspect, didn't work. Then later on they did Leprechaun Returns, a direct sequel to the original. They brought back the dude from Teen Wolf and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right? The guy that's y'all know the guy that's in this movie, right? The slow guy, right?
Yeah, Ozzy.
Ozzy. He comes back in that movie, but there's a different guy that plays that role. But aside from that, this is a character that is defined by Warwick Davis, only really adequately performed by Warwick. I would say his performance to me is akin to something like Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, right?
It's his role, and no one
Doug
else.
Bradley as Pinhead, right? Even though there were two other Pinheads, we've reviewed those films.
Yeah,
there's no other Pinhead aside from Doug Bradley.
Robert
right?
Englund.
That's correct.
Yeah, and there's no other Leprechaun other than Warwick Davis and Robert Englund as Freddy, right? Who gives a shit about Rorschach playing him? We don't, right? And what's the other one? The other one is Leprechaun, Freddy, Wolfman, and Hellraiser. Yeah,
that should be enough.
That is enough. He makes this fucking movie, in my opinion. So I'm going to take him away to make my job easier and to not give y'all so much, to not give Jelani the obvious fucking set him up for a spike. Anyway, Jelani, what's a performance you want to highlight outside of the Leprechaun?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna pick Warwick Davis. I was once again. I'm picking the kid. This is the second movie that I am surprised that there is a competent.
I hate this fucking kid in this movie. What movie is he from? Is he from Adventures in Babysitting? What the fuck is he from?
He's from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's
Dead.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, movie.
Hate that fucking. Is he in Mrs. Fucking Dumbledore too? I feel like he is. I don't know.
I think he's in Mr. Nanny as well.
That's it, Mr. Fucking Nanny. Y'all just wait till Hogan month here on the channel coming up.
Fuck Hogan. He won't be there. Oh, fuck Hogan. Let's see. Yeah, I picked the kid still. The kid was the most competent human in the entire thing. He got the gold. He's got the gold, and he immediately wants to get that shit appraised. He's got the best line in the fucking movie. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. He's awesome with the slingshot. Like I said, he's in charge of that business. When someone I forgot who asked, they were like the dad who wisely got the fuck out of this movie. They asked, the dad was like, can I help you and get some tools? And the kid was like, immediate. We got, it's for liability issues. We can only do this. I'm like, he's the brains of the operation. Clearly, he's the one running the show. When they needed to start the truck after the dad got bit, once again, he got the fuck out of there at the hospital. You don't see him again, do you? Question.
In my head canon, that dude had a gnarly infection.
He had a horrible infection.
I was like, y'all took him for like somebody bit him in the fucking hand, and he's there overnight. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, they should have
needed to get rid of that character, man. It makes no sense.
He got the fuck out of there. They
should have killed him. They should have killed him.
He probably died from the infection, but it's once again headcanon. Who cares? He's gone.
I might be cursed, laddie.
Yeah.
Somebody go help that man.
Yep, no, that motherfucker dead.
Well, how come the dad wasn't allowed to help, but yet Jennifer Aniston was allowed to help them? Because she was like painting and shit. Because they did that weird montage where it seems like it's going to be 4 days, but it was really like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, you painted the house."
That was, by the way, the worst fucking paint job I've ever seen.
Ever.
Fucking terrible.
Blue.
And they only got down they did 1% of the house. And then
they do that one bit after the windowsill, and like the Aussie dude has shit all over him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the
they
thing,
all have
right?
paint all over them. Like, are they like Zoolander? The models with the fucking gas tanks. You know what I'm saying? They're just like,
Here's
where's
the thing,
that montage in this movie?
When I moved to my house, it needed some work, but I started by cleaning the goddamn inside. They didn't look at the fucking webs and shit inside, like in the kitchen and shit. I'm like,
they were like gonna sleep there that night. I'm like,
let's paint this shit Mario colors, man.
Why are the painters sleeping
like primary blue and fucking red, dude? That's what
Jennifer
we're doing.
Aniston had it right. She was like, we need to get a hotel. I'm going to a hotel. I'm leaving right now. I wouldn't slip in that filth either. Why the fuck is that house that way? And that's the dad just like, and by the way, on a whim, the dad like goes and like you're right, honey. She's complaining this whole time. I gotta leave. This is horrible. Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he's like, you're right, honey. I'm gonna leave. And she's like, we're gonna stay. I hate that whole scene because I'm like, honey, you're right. We bought property in the middle of nowhere. We could probably tear it down and put some condominiums here, but fuck it. We're just gonna leave all this property in this stupid ass house and just do whatever you want. Fuck that. He should have been a land developer and worked on that shit. I'm so mad at that dad. He pisses me off so much. Anyway, yeah, I picked the kid.
So you like the kid? You like the kid from the Hulk Hogan classic, Mr. Nanny?
I don't give a shit. That kid was great.
What about you,
He's
Hammer
better
Time?
than all the kids in the Goonies. Let's put it like that.
Fuck off.
You're
wrong. You're wrong, my friend. You're wrong on that one. Hammer Time. We'll say that
every child that's in the Goonies is worse than that kid in this movie.
Get the fuck
I like how
out
he
here.
picks the kid, but then he went on a 20-minute rant about the fucking dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, Brooks says I steal people. I do steal people, Brooks. And you know why? Because I picked the dad, too. He got the hell out of
dad was the sexiest dude in the entire movie, in my opinion. What about you, Hammer Time?
I'm going to go with Warwick.
I know Brooks. Got my ass.
John, what's a performance you want to highlight?
I'm gonna say Jennifer Aniston, man. I've never been a big fan, like into her, like have some other actresses, but she's great in this. I love the fact too that when the movie comes out, the original promo and even on like the DVD and stuff, it's like the Leprechaun looking through the door. But subsequent stuff, once Friends took off, every promo, poster, everything you see after that is like Jennifer Aniston and the Leprechauns in the fucking background.
This is like your first.
They like
what they did with TCM 4, right? Yeah,
4, yeah.
TCM 4, yeah. That's what they did with like Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger, a big fucking stars.
Exactly. So that, but she does a good job. But she is like sort of the stuck up bitch. But when we're rewatching it, she's got some terrible fucking lines, like what cringy lines. Like, and I feel bad for her because she didn't write the lines. You know what I'm saying? So I feel really bad for her character. I also was confused about how they all try to get in the truck to get away, and the truck gets tipped over. Why couldn't they get in the goddamn Jeep? Because later on, she gets in the Jeep and drives away. I'm so confused. There's so many things that don't make any sense. I don't think that the issues are her fault. I think she looks pretty amazing in it. She's definitely got that rocking that 90s style. And take a fucking broom, man. Just if you're gonna stay there, the inside. What a fucking oh god, gross.
So
yeah,
you've got to believe.
I'm not okay. So this is the year of the heel, right?
Really?
And I'm gonna say something that may not be popular, but I would put Leprechaun on the level of Trimmers, and I think Leprechaun's better than Trimmers. I'm going to go ahead and say that. So, Brooks, what's a performance that stands out to you?
Well, like it's a performance. There's only a couple of scenes, but the sheriff is like I love that trope in horror movies. The stupid idiot local cops that will just decide not to investigate a crime or a call in because that guy he's always just he's crazy or whatever. Because that's not how cops are supposed to work. Like the whole reason that there's it's illegal to call in a false alarm is because cops have to send somebody regardless of whether they think the guy's lying or he's just a crazy guy or whatever. So it only cuts to him a couple of times. Like the first time is when dude calls him and of course they're like, oh, it's him. Ozzy, he calls him first, and they're like, oh yeah, he's just bullshitting, or he's a moron or whatever. But then the second time, Jennifer Aniston calls, and he's like, oh, but it's at the same location, so he's like, it's just bullshit. Anyways, I was like, what the fuck? You figure Jennifer Aniston at least they would take it seriously, but that's just the thing about horror movies is if the cops aren't a certain level of incompetent, then the movie just can't progress. Because if you had a couple of cops show up and just mag dump into the Leprechaun, there wouldn't be a movie.
Unless it's a Giallo, and then they can just be there whistling and collecting stamps and shit, and they're just fucking fine. What about you, Joe? What's a performance you want to highlight, man? Slim pickings, but I'm sure you got something.
No, I mean it all kind of sucks, but I guess I'll highlight because there's really no one fucking else in this goddamn movie. It's not like there's a lot of places to go with this. I mean, and no one's really in it that long either. It's can you even pick the fucking old Irish guy who has a stroke? Who gives a fuck?
O'Grady, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, O'Grady.
He should have been the most Irish motherfucker in the movie.
What's crazy is I've never seen Leprechaun. I've never seen Leprechaun in the Hood, but I know that Ice-T plays somebody whose last name is O'Grady or some shit like that. Ice-T is playing that character. I love it.
Yeah, no, but I guess what's it, Nathan? That shitheel dipshit who's just mean to Jennifer Aniston, who's also unlikable the whole time. And
are you talking about the dude we're supposed to be oh yeah, y'all two should totally get together?
They have
Meatloaf
negative
too.
chemistry. That they have nothing close to chemistry. They don't seem like they like each other at all. He's kind of terrible. The Meatloaf scene sucks. The getting bit in the leg or whatever sucks. He's really injured and then is able to run away not long after that, seemingly with no problem.
And kept firing shotgun shells. Where did he find the damn shotgun shells?
Yeah,
he had a box.
He's emptying out a shotgun into nothing.
Yeah.
Instead of oh, you know what? I'm going to hold on to this and going to use it when we might need it. And then
even though they already know that shooting this motherfucker's not going to kill him.
Right. Deadpool, he already shot him point blank in the chest. And he still
also on top of all that, they see what is clearly a leprechaun.
And they don't believe.
And and they are like arguing about what kind of like animal it is, like well after like he has seen it like bite him and talk with the Irish brogue bit and talk about his gold, and they're like,
and he's all like it's either a Wolverine or a giraffe. It's something like that.
Yeah, it's just insane. So yeah, I guess I'm highlighting him. He fucking blows, but who cares?
All right. Style and structure. Style's fine. I love what Joe said. We got to put ourselves in the context of the situation. We are post Nancy Reagan era right now, right? Everybody here on this panel lived through the 90s. Okay?
Just say no.
We know what the 90s were like. This post Nancy Reagan, post Tipper Gore, family friendly bullshit, right? We got some fun stuff in the 90s, but it wasn't a great decade for horror. It really wasn't, right? And Leprechaun does stand out. So I appreciate it for replicating the style of what was popular in the 80s, but doing it in the 90s, having to tone it down, right? Now, the Leprechaun films actually get more gnarly in the sequels.
Yep.
But for the most part, I think it's, for its time, it's okay with its gore and special effects. The Leprechaun makeup itself is amazing. It's an iconic makeup. It's like, it's up there with like Frankenstein Monster and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, like Michael Myers. It's like an iconic fucking look, right? You see the face of that Leprechaun, you know what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the style is okay. Structurally, yeah, the script is weak, honestly. There's very little character development. From what I'm told,
like a sitcom.
Yeah. Well, from what I'm told, this is the best character development of any of the Leprechaun movies. So, but at the same time, do we watch Friday the 13th for character development? Not really. So I get it. And they're doing what they're doing at the time. And structure-wise, also, length, pace. It doesn't have a bad pace to me. Like, I think it's dumb in the story. I think the Leprechaun gets too many, like, I don't know. Can you just randomly in a small town out there somewhere in the desert find a goddamn Power Wheel that will go 60 miles per hour on the fucking highway? Because the Leprechaun did. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just keeps finding the right vehicles. There's things like that don't make sense.
Well, he's using Leprechaun magic.
As far as pacing goes, it never really slows up too much. It has a good pace. In fact, it has a better pace than some of the movies that I think, like more on this channel at times. So, I don't know. Style and structure, I think Leprechaun's pretty solid. What do you think, Jelani?
Style, yeah. Leprechaun looks great. Warwick Davis's makeup is amazing. I understand if you get infections from getting bit by him. And like the lasting effect is you lose that hand. I understand it. Structurally, I think it's terrible. It is a poorly written script. Joe, you could write a better script. I think you can make a Leprechaun. I think you can make a Leprechaun film. I think you're competent to make a script that's far more superior than this piece of shit.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Joe is literally a writer. And you're like, I think you could write a better script than Leprechaun. You think that's a fucking like compliment?
It is a
Joe
compliment.
knows he can make a better script than Leprechaun.
Joe, we're in the heel era. You're going to get used to it. It's fine. The thing is, it's a fine film. It's a fine film if someone else wrote it. It's structurally trash. These people move out to the middle of nowhere. They're trying to build a house for some stupid fucking reason in the middle of nowhere. The daughter's dumb as fuck and annoying. They hire complete strangers to paint their house. they're three idiots, except for the kid.
So if you have to paint a house, Jelani, you only hire people you know?
The people that did work on my house, I didn't know the motherfuckers. You know
no, exactly. But this is the problem. Those people you don't know shouldn't be in your house longer than
they're not going to stay the night.
They're not going to stay the night in your house.
Yeah.
They have places to be. I'm pretty sure they live in this town. Why
yeah, they probably have their own house.
I'm sorry, but if John had some fucking roofers over at his house, and in the midst of all that, a leprechaun attacked John, those roofers would be staying the night with John, and he would be cool with that. I'm just saying.
Somebody's got to protect me.
Because I got the fuck out of there. The second, listen, any kind of mess in the middle of the woods, I'm already in a hotel. I'm still trying to figure out how to go back. I wouldn't have driven that far to find out I lived here. Because the second they showed me that house, I'd be like, nope. Are we just gonna stay here to like help flip it and then we leave? Is that what we're doing? Because ain't no way in fuck I'm gonna live here until I die, or it's deeded to me. There's no way in fuck. So I would have been here to begin with. Structurally, it's like I said, it is terrible, but Warwick Davis looks good. I even like the fucking socks he's wearing. The whole outfit just works. Like, this is his deal. And I'm like, he looks like a box Lucky Charms.
I love the bit where he's like obsessed with shining shoes and shit. Yeah. He like shines all their fucking shoes and shit.
Yeah. Because he's a shoe cobbler. He's a cobbler by trade. And it's something somebody stole his gold. And so
is that a real thing in like Irish mythology that I don't know about?
Mythology. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a thing. Is. Like, yeah.
Okay.
But he like, I don't know. He has his gold and he wants his gold because that's his greed. The greed is gives him power. And I like that part. And I like how they didn't use that gold enough in this film. Like that gold, like O'Grady should have had that gold, and then his wife saw that gold and she got greedy. And I don't know, tried to kill him for it. Or something, and the power of the bag, like it should have been something like the bag also causes like evil to happen.
Well, so if you remember, like if you catch a leprechaun, you also get wishes, right? And they explored that in part 2. And if you remember part 2 is more memorable to me. That old dude asks him, or he wishes, "I want your gold," and he gets it. And the leprechaun's like, "You got it," but it's in his stomach and it busts out of his fucking guts. Do y'all remember that shit? That shit was gnarly in part 2. That shit was gnarly in part 2, bro.
But yeah.
So you think style and structure is
I think it was, it would have been a better film if it had been written by someone else. There, I've said it 8 times. I mean everything I said.
All right, hammer time. I'm gonna smoke some weed. What do you think?
Joe would love to catch a leprechaun. His wish would be not to watch this fucking movie. Just have it wiped away. It's real bad, Robbie, when you find out that Joe actually submitted a Leprechaun series to Image and it was rejected.
Well, Eric Stevenson can be a little fucking.
But man, I what are we even talking about? The music, the movie,
style and structure.
Oh shit! I forgot. I'm sidetracked. It's okay, man. It works. Here's the thing. You can only do so much with the premise of a leprechaun, his gold taken away. He's killing the people who took his gold. There's only so much you can do with it. You know what I'm saying? You're limited in scope, and they were limited in budget, and they obviously spent all their money on. You said 900,000, but maybe the creature effects, or maybe the renting the house. I don't know where that money went to.
The catering.
I don't know where this money went to. Maybe it was it cost a lot for that little car. I don't know. But the style and structure is fine. It works for what it is. There is fucking plot holes you could ride that fucking little car through. Mm-hmm. There's many plot holes that don't make sense, and I don't know, man. I've never written a horror film. I've never, I also never wrote episodes of James Bond Jr. either. So what the fuck do I know? I don't know. There's issues, but it's okay. It's serviceable. It's not. I've seen way worse horror films, man. So it's okay. The style and structure, it works for the film.
Real quick. Was that like a subtle gesture that saying that me, you, and Joe need to develop a James Bond Jr. concept and maybe
James Bond
Dynamite?
Jr.
I guarantee,
because I'd be down with that, bro.
Amazon's open to exploring that license now.
Timothy Dalton.
You're gonna see all kinds of shit, man. Like old man Bond, young Bond. You know, like a
All
James
right,
Bond
Joe.
dog.
Joe, you start thinking about it. John, you start thinking about it. I'm going to think about it. First thing I'm thinking about is we use our James Bond Jr. reboot to finish off the story of Timothy Dalton's James Bond.
Yeah.
We give him
into
his
the
third
Bond
movie.
verse.
We give
Like
him
the
his
multiverse
third
of
movie,
Bonds.
man. Yeah.
We need
That's
a
good.
multiverse.
Brooks,
Well,
what do you
I
think about
think
the sounds? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think the important thing for a James Bond Jr. reboot is to establish that they were lying to him about the fact that he was his nephew, because of course he's James Bond's son. Like, of fucking course.
He's James Bond.
That's the
Jr.
crisis at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
the whole thing, right? Is that like, I think my uncle's my dad, right? Like that's the thing we play with, right?
Maybe James Bond is from Alabama.
All right,
That shit
maybe you're
happens in
out of
New York,
this
too.
one, but
All right, Brooks, style and structure. What do you think about this fucking Leprechaun movie, man? And what do you think about the idea of James Bond Jr. rebooted by me and Holshoe and Corallo? What do you think?
Well, I'm not much of a James Bond guy, so like, it's not something I have a lot of investment.
What did you just say? What did you say?
Take him out of here.
He just said something. God. Jeez.
Joe, what do you think about the style and structure of Leprechaun?
I mean, kind of like what I was saying. I mean, it's the style is like mostly bland. Like it's fine. Like it's nothing to really write home about, but it's fine. It does the job for a movie like this. The structure, like the pacing's fine. Everything is, you see where everything's going. The writing, of course, is fucking awful. Like the whole like beating him with the 4-leaf clover thing is
You gotta
shit.
put it in his skin.
Like what it should have been, a movie like this, the 4-leaf clover or whatever, maybe it like weakens him or like makes it, but it doesn't like stop him. And then you lean into the like, oh, we've got this 4-leaf clover, it's going to stop him. And, you could do the kind of shit they do sometimes with vampires where it's like, it's not the cross that stops the vampire, it's your faith. And, you do a bit where it's the rejection of greed and you destroy him by giving him back the gold. Like you take the bag of gold, you take it back, and that banishes the leprechaun. Is the willingness to stop your greed.
Yeah,
and
I like it.
Like that's a Leprechaun movie. This is shit. But it's like you put it in his mouth and you say,
fucking with a slingshot.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms. That's the best line in the movie. I left like an hour after I heard that.
But yeah, it's like there was a way you could have done it, but style is unoffensive, average, and structure unoffensive, average. Like you get a C for both. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, okay. A C for effort.
Yeah.
Fable, you're right. Nobody puts Brooks in a corner, but you know what? Fuck Brooks, man. I can put him in a corner as much as I fucking want. So after some time out, Brooks, what do you think about the style and structure of this film?
What's the movie?
Yep.
Dead Ringers.
That's great.
No, what do you think about the
Jeremy
style?
Irons?
Yeah, Jeremy Irons. He's amazing in this movie, right? There's 2 leprechauns. Anyway, what do you think about the style and structure of Leprechaun, my man?
Well, it's a pretty basic, kind of slasher buildup. Like it doesn't have the suspense though. I don't feel like the slasher should, because it leans too much into the goofiness of this leprechaun and how he's just like this goofy little goober that like dances around and like says like, you know, these little funny little jokes. You got a light for a leprechaun's pipe, you know, but it is like
he's also like Etrigan, which is kind of annoying. I hate when I read a comic and I'm like, dude, I love this character, but why is everything got to be a fucking rhyme? And everybody has to get more elaborate with the fucking rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, can we just let him be a fucking evil little gleeful shit? Like, God damn it. I don't need the rhyming. But they do it right here as opposed to Etrigan the demon.
He should have done it like Etrigan. That'd been better.
I hate that shit. Because then you have somebody like Neil Gaiman who comes in and like, or Alan Moore, and they do Etrigan, and he doesn't even fucking rhyme his words, and you're like, I know you're telling me I'm stupid right now. I know you're John Cena on Raw today, right? I know you're telling me that
shit,
I'm
man. Now I gotta see it.
Yeah. Oh, you just wait, bro. You just wait, dude.
John Cena sucks.
Yeah, they were all like, John Cena sucks. Oh, it's so good, so good, so good. Where were we? What were we talking about? Brooks, you were talking about sound structure.
Oh yeah, but like I do like the this idea of like, you know, we take these like old folk legends and stuff and we like sanitize them and make them stupid, like, you know, the leprechaun, like we think of the Lucky Charms leprechaun, but then like, you know, we turn it back around and turn it into like a horrifying thing again. So it's like, you know, I thought that's kind of a cool thing about this is like, you know, you take this idea of this like, you know, old folk legend that's been like so sanitized and commercialized that nobody could possibly think it was scary, and then try to make it scary again. And I don't think it really quite works, but I can see it working on somebody, you know. Like apparently it worked on Garth from Wayne's World. Like he was particularly disturbed by this leprechaun, I think, but I don't think many other people are going to be.
All right, let's talk about the music. This is usually where I shine, but the music is done by Kevin Kiner and Robert J. Walsh. Robert J. Walsh did a lot of like animated stuff, like animated movies, and so did Kevin Kiner. Yeah, the music's basic. It's okay. Could be better. It's fine for what it is. I think what Joe was saying earlier about how this is 1993. Most horror movies suck, right? And this is finally a movie that feels like it could have come out in 88, 89, right? And we do not need to understress the importance of that, even though, even for me, the music is basic, hardly stand out, but it gets the job done. What do you think, Jelani?
Fuck this music. It is so generic. It once again, it insists upon itself. It's there just because this is a sitcom writer and he wants music in it. It's like music in porn. Like, you don't really need it. Like, it's there. You're like, okay, but you don't need it. That's what this movie is. Like, in the suspenseful parts, don't make it sound. Or just do the whole, like, I don't know, just the nice hum and sound effects. You just need the sound design to come through that part. In the suspenseful part, especially, like, go back to the scene I enjoyed the most was him, like, stalking that cop. It is so great. It has been beautiful. I love it, but it's ruined by the music. Like, if I could have just muted that whole scene, oh shit, he broke that guy's neck. You know what I'm saying? It should have been scarier. It should have had more jump cuts to make that scarier. You should have had the sound of that and not just
yeah. It didn't have great sound design like the waves in the Limey. Okay,
fuck the Limey.
Just bringing that back up again, y'all.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But yeah, I don't like the music at all in this film. It insists upon itself.
Okay, what about you, Holshoe?
Even Ghoulies had some banging licensed songs, if you want to mention
Yeah.
that. And I think they topped out their budget, so it's serviceable. I think I remember there being clown music in one scene. It works. And you were talking shit about music and porn, but if John Williams did music for porn, you would listen, Jelani. Or maybe Danny Elfman. Be like,
that would
wow,
be the most epic porn ever, bro.
Yes. It's serviceable, but it's nothing. I watched this and Electric State like almost back to back, and I was like, oh yeah, it had good soundtrack. And I'm like, oh no, Electric State, which it's got problems of itself, and there's problems with that movie, but that's got a busting fucking soundtrack. And I wish there was some licensed music. I think would have saved the movie.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It is what it is. And again, most of that probably is just budget limitation.
They should have brought in Dawkins. Couldn't have been too expensive, and they could have done the
193.
I'm the Leprechaun.
Yeah, something, anything.
Joe, what do you think about the music in the film?
Kind of sucks. It's just whatever. It's very made for TV movie, which I think works for like the VHS, direct to VHS market. There's no standout tracks, and like whole show what everyone else was saying before, like there's no like they didn't license like a song or two that would be like really cool. Like you are immediately like kind of embarrassed when it cuts to 10 years later and that horrific song is playing while they're driving over to the house with Jennifer Aniston. It's like it's just bad. But yeah, but also I see where these things happen because it's like a horror comedy. So it's like, well, what do we do? And it seems like indecisiveness and maybe conflicting ideas on the movie contributed to it was like the worst of both worlds for it. Like, well, we'll just go like middle of the road with the soundtrack. So it's like, it's not really scary, but it's also not really leaning into the humor. So it's just kind of there. And I think that's kind of what we end up with.
Yeah, that's what happens when you hire the writer of the Police Academy live action television show.
Yes.
Speaking of people at the caliber of the head writer of the Police Academy television show, Brooks, what do you think about the music in the film?
It's fine. I mean, it doesn't surprise me to hear that it was done by like people who are more accustomed to scoring cartoons. Like it does have.
This is like whole movies done by people that were accustomed to cartoons.
Yeah,
that's what's tripping me out.
That makes a lot of sense, really.
I literally just found that out for the first time tonight on the stream, looking up the Wikipedia page. Like honestly, like I had no clue who the fuck made this movie, but like. Yeah, they made a bunch of cartoons. Heathcliff, it makes sense. This should have been a cartoon. I don't know. The music would have been better.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. The problem with the music is they got too much of the like the goofy like upbeat stuff, and if they'd have mixed in some actual like more somber like suspenseful type music in there with it, I think it would have worked a lot better. Like it could have been something interesting, because like that's what this movie was kind of. I think they were trying to do, but they didn't commit to the dark part. Like they made it, they kind of softened it too much.
Word.
And like the soundtrack in particular is kind of like a casualty of that conflict.
Fuck yeah, that's rather profound. All right, let's talk about the theme of the movie. But before we get to that, very quick question: yes or no answer. Better movie, this or Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Me, Killer Clowns. Jelani?
Killer Clowns.
Holshoe?
Killer Clowns is fucking amazing. What are you? Yeah.
Joe?
Different league.
Yeah, Killer Clowns. What are we talking about?
Brooks?
Yeah.
Leprechaun, dude.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You're contrarian.
All right. It's time to unpack the meaning of this film. What is the theme? What's this movie speaking, if anything, to you, Jelani? Kick us off.
It should be don't be greedy. Like, there's a bag of gold involved, and nobody wanted that bag of gold but the leprechaun. That just irritates me. Somebody should have been just as greedy wanting that piece of thing. So it would have been don't be greedy, but it's not. This is like, don't go to the fucking woods if you're not just going to flip the house and sell it and get the fuck out. I don't understand why they're there. I hate this movie.
Okay. Whole shoe, what's the theme to you? What's it saying?
First off, don't go follow rainbows. Wherever they're going, just fuck off. Don't do it. Secondly, don't even follow your dreams. Just live a shit life and be unhappy. And if you see a leprechaun, just don't fuck with it, man. Just let it be. Just let it fucking be. That's what my just
be a painter. It's what you're saying.
Yeah, and maybe background check some of these painters if you're gonna hire painters to your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their insurance will allow it, but there's a fucking like 8-year-old kid. What the fuck? Who's the insurance company?
Right. Liability.
You're
issues.
right, Whole shoe. I think those are valid points. What about you, Joe? What's this movie saying?
I mean, it's clearly like the idea at first is anti-greed, right? Because this guy stole the gold and gets killed, but then it like goes off the rails and it kind of doesn't, it stops kind of being about that. It just ends up being more of like a silly, slapsticky kind of movie that's not really trying to say much. But like, now, if you really wanted to go that route, I think what would have been incredible is, you have someone like Jeff Aniston or whatever with the gold, and she's lives there now, and she's paying things off with the gold, and the leprechaun is going around and murdering all the people she's giving the gold to. And then it takes her a little bit of time to figure out, like, because at first these all seemed unconnected, but like once you get to like the third kill, she starts going like, oh my God, I bought things, and starts figuring it out. And then
Joe, you're giving these ideas away for free. This is why me, you, and John got to like work together.
I love it. Thank you for telling me.
This
I
is
can't
like,
believe
it's like,
Image rejected that. It's a great idea,
right? No, but it's just one of those things where it's like I don't like that I can come up with that much of a better idea just like bullshitting with you guys on a stream. Like it doesn't seem that hard. Like
it's a really good idea. Actually, it's a way better
idea. Well, he is a writer, and I don't think the guy that wrote the movie is a writer. Be honest with you. How hard can it be to write?
He's a writer,
for
but
James
he's a
Bond
staff
Jr.?
writer.
How hard?
So yeah, the movie's about greed kind of in the beginning, then about nothing. So
okay. Yeah. Brooks, what you sitting on?
For fun, I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
I think we've already formulated the Bible for the James Bond Jr., the comic book series from Dynamite. We'll be calling Nick Barucci this week and just tell him we got 5 years planned out. That's my goal. Tell everybody you got 5 years planned out. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. You'll figure it out. Brooks, what's the theme of this fucking movie to you, man?
Well, I think one thing this movie kind of tries is kind of this idea of like, stay in your lane, like this guy, like, he goes and he fucks with this mystical creature. And like, we don't know anything about the leprechaun outside of like, like he apparently wasn't like, killing people until this dude stole his gold. So it's like why this guy's, he's fucking around with things he has no comprehension of. But he thinks he's smart because he's got like a little 4-leaf clover. And like, and I thought like, how long is that 4-leaf clover going to like last?
Yeah.
Does he think? Like, he does know that's a plant and it will eventually like dry up and like wither away. But yeah, it's like, this leprechaun, like he only kills because he wants his gold back, man. Because some dude stole his shit,
Yeah.
Like, in the context of like, I think it'd be interesting to like do this movie from the leprechaun's perspective, where he's just chilling. And all of a sudden, this dude like steals his shit, and it's like his magic is gone. He's like dying. And he's like, "What the fuck?" So then he goes into the world and like and he does his leprechaun murder spree. But that's about like so you gotta let some things be, man. Like don't be fucking around with like little magical dudes and their fucking gold, man. Sometimes you just gotta stay in your lane, bro.
Know when to hold them.
I love that. I'm not saying that you would be good on the team for the James Bond Jr. reboot, but you kind of got a great idea about Leprechaun. Tell it from the Leprechaun's perspective. Somebody comes and steals his shit, and now he's all fucked up and dying, right? Mm-hmm. And then we can be on board and just have some heinous murder with comedic elements. That's a great way to make this fucking movie, right? I'm with all of y'all. The theme of the movie should be about greed, but it's not. But I do think if we do apply our perspective from the Leprechaun themselves, I think it's about obsession. Jennifer Aniston's character is obsessed with what? She's obsessed with being cool, being popular, being trendy. The dad is obsessed with what? Being out there alone, obviously recently divorced, trying to get away from the wife, right? That's what's going on there, right? The painters, who gives a shit? The leprechaun, who gives a shit? But the leprechaun is obsessed with the gold. It's not about the greed of the people stealing from the leprechaun. It's about the obsession of the leprechaun himself, right? That's the best I got for this one, y'all. I'm sorry. I know I'm usually like, it's St. Patty's Day, I'm drinking Jameson. This movie's okay. That's the best we got. I think this movie's about obsession on either side. Could be better, though, if it was James Bond Jr., developed by me, Joe Corallo, Hammer Time Whole Shoe, and Brooks will help us out just a little bit. And
I'll do a blurb for you.
Yeah, and Jelani will give us some good quotes. So, time to rate this motherfucking movie. Leprechaun, St. Patty's Day. Jelani, what do you give this film out of 5 you digs? You out there in the chat. Also, let us know what you think.
I'm going to give this a 2 for the 2 times I'm going to watch this movie and never see it again. Jennifer Aniston, I thought this was like her first movie. I think they were like talking like this was her first movie ever. And this was the first movie of the new year or something. I can't remember. All I knew is there was like hype for this movie because of her and Friends was blowing up and whatnot. But no one cares, man. No one gives a shit. Was
she in that Ferris Bueller show before this?
I think so.
Oh yeah, Ferris Bueller was before this. But
Bueller.
Let's be honest. Was that a hit, bro?
No.
Parker Lewis can't lose.
I think that's what I knew her from that, and then Leprechaun, and then she kind of became famous with this Friends show. I don't know if you guys seen it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So
I've seen a few episodes.
I'll forget about it. I've already forgotten about this movie. I mean, and Warwick Davis plays his ass off. He's awesome in this movie. So you got to give him credit. But at the same time, he's the one that injected humor into this, which it shouldn't be humor. He shouldn't be making it funny, but funny like in a deadly way. It wasn't that. It was like a oops slapstick kind of way. They missed the point of the film. Like, it's supposed to be an evil leprechaun. There's supposed to be like a new movie that's coming out, like a unicorn is evil or something. I don't know what it is. It'll be terrible, I'm sure.
It's an A24 movie, right?
Yeah, it's A24. So it's elevated horror. So it may be good. We'll see.
Well, WWE tried that with this film. It apparently didn't work out. So, all right, a 2 from Jelani. What about you, Hammer Time Whole Shoe? What do you think?
I was going to say a 2, but I'm going to bump it up to a 3 because I think Warwick Davis does a really good job. And any issues with the film aren't him. If anything, he's the one that makes it better. And he injects his humor. But without him, say they cast somebody else and they didn't have the humor. First off, nobody would do as good a job as Warwick. But also, the humor works at times. It does kind of have that, like, you talked about Killer Clowns, and Killer Clowns is obviously more aware of itself in a better film, but it's got humorous parts and it's, some of the absurd stuff. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's a great movie that is also not just humorous, but is genuinely creepy in some parts.
Oh yeah. Right? And it's done in a whole different league of film. We wouldn't even compare Leprechaun to that because it's an insult to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But I think Warwick helps the film. And so I give it a solid. I'll give it a 3 just because of that. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I think it's middle of the road. I was excited for the rewatch, and after rewatching, I'm like, man, there's so many problems with this fucking film. But I've seen worse fucking films. So we'll leave it at that.
All right. A 3 from Whole Shoe, which is very respectable. What about you, Joe? What are you thinking?
At 2.5, it's a very like even given like the circumstances of the time, which I think are important. It's far from the worst, but like it's so aggressively middle of the road in a lot of ways. I'm gonna go 2.5.
All right, Brooks, what you sitting on, man?
Yeah, I'd give this one a 2.5 too. Like, it's almost a middle of the road movie, but not quite. Like, I think its issues weigh it down a little bit. But that being said, like, it is a movie I could see myself watching again. And like, it seems like a fun movie to watch with somebody like that you've just met or something, to like gauge their reaction to this movie. I think you could learn something about somebody by seeing their first time reaction to this movie. But yeah, like not terrible, but still pretty bad.
I think I agree with the consensus of the panel tonight. It's not a great movie, but it's decent enough because of Warwick Davis's performance to be a part and the context of when it was made. It deserves its spot as the go-between that was right there in the midst of the tail end of Michael, Jason, and Freddy. The almost rise of Candyman, but they didn't do well with the sequels, right? Yeah. And before Ghostface. It's like Leprechaun exists in an era with Chucky, but Chucky persists more because of the persistence of Don Mancini, right? That dude's kept that franchise alive and cohesive. Leprechaun, cohesive a little bit, not so much. But it's kind of in that same vein. It's all right. I'm going to agree with our man, Eddie Von B, 3.17. I don't like doing 0.1 whatever the fucks, unless it's a 5 or a 69, but I think this is very appropriate. A 3.17. This is a movie that I never respected in my adult life, but I did appreciate it this time. And honestly, if all 5 of us were together, had some nice edibles, we're drinking some fucking nice beer or liquor, we'd have fun with this movie.
We would.
And we'd have fun with part 2, I believe. And we probably would have fun with Leprechaun in the Hood, too. Yeah. So I got to give it a
Leprechaun in space. I'm just saying, it's really stupid, but I like it.
Hell yeah. Maybe next I almost said 4th of July. Maybe next St. Patty's Day. But yeah, Eddie gives it a 3.17. Chill Out Man a 4. Jay gives it a 3.5. 5 for Aniston's old nose. I love that. One Collection Down with a 2. Introspect M with a 3. Two Gun with a 4. Hell yeah. Some good ratings. So from me, a 3.17. Jelani, you gave it a what? A 2?
Give it a 2.
Holshoe, you gave it a what? 3. Joe gave it a 2.5. Brooks gave it a 2.5. That's a PCP average. 2.769, dudes. Sounds good, right?
I mean, it fared better after everybody else was saying below 3. I was like, ew, am I going to be the highest? And Robbie was 3.17. So
just because I thought that was clever, right?
Yeah, that was clever for him. And
I was going to give it a 3, but
not seen it in forever, I would have rated it higher. And then I rewatched. I'm like, oh wait.
Well, I don't. The cool thing is, I don't regret watching this movie for PCP Movie Night and March Madness, and we are continuing on March Madness. We're only like halfway through, y'all. So tomorrow night, because I'm on a whole week of March Madness, catch me tomorrow night at One Collection Down at 8 p.m. Central Time. We're talking about Fight Club. Cannot wait to talk about that movie. I rewatched it last night. So fun. Thursday night, I'll be over at Blood Splatter Chatter. We're doing Reanimator for March Madness. One of my favorite fucking movies. And I'll be over at Dylan's Horror Show on Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time to talk about The Babadook, because that's another movie that I love. I'll be there. And then next week here on PCP for PCP Movie Night, we'll be talking about Mother, a movie I've never seen that is brought to us by Two Gun Pedro.
I thought you were
By
gonna say
the way,
Danzig.
we still have spots for Mother. If anybody wants to join in, let us know. But next week will be Mother here on PCP Movie Night. But tomorrow night, join me over at One Collection Down for Fight Club. Thursday night at Blood Splatter Chatter for Reanimator. And Sunday night for Dylan's Horror Show with the Babadook. Somebody in the chat, please throw out links so everybody can subscribe and get ready for it. Jelani, thank you for being here. March Madness, this is our 5th year doing this.
5 years. Wow.
It's so fucking awesome that we're doing this shit. But final thoughts, man. What you got coming up? Thank you for being here.
Well, yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me on this lovely, lovely St. Patty's Day. Hope everybody got their shot or their Guinness or their whatnot in. Hope you wore green today. I sure didn't. Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed at our discussion on this movie. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is that Brooks and I do this lovely, lovely show called Go Figure Reviews. And this past week, we dropped a video for the Turtles of Grayskull, Wave 5. This is a pretty cool wave. It's got King Hiss in it as or Ratlord, excuse me. Mechanic, Donatello, and Raphael. Check that video out. We also did another video with Huggy's Toy Shop. This is the Ramen Toy Rev 4 Recoil. This is not the 18 van. This is not the 18 van. But we put 18 stuff on it. So check that video out. We love it. You guys apparently like our videos. We are 3 away from 600 subscribers. So I'm super excited for that. I'm not doing a giveaway for that. But, subscribe. It's cool. It's all right. Go Figure Reviews. Check us out.
Yeah, throw out a link to Go Figure Reviews if you could as well out there. Hammer Time Whole Show, it's always a pleasure when you're here. Leprechaun, we did some David Lynch. We did some Steven Soderbergh. We did some really great movies these last couple months. Leprechaun is the one you show up for? That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Well, St. Patty's Day, I was like, man, remind me of when we had that St. Patty's Day party here, and I almost died because I was doing those drinks. I don't know what the term is. I think that
we can call them car bombs.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Irish car bombs.
And every time I would make one for somebody, I would make one for myself. And I think I had alcohol poisoning. I drank so many of those.
My favorite thing about that party was at that time I lived with John, and we had a Halloween party every year, right? And John just took all of the promo material for the Halloween party and crossed out Halloween and put St. Patty's Day on.
Yeah, we just recycled it up.
That was
But we had a good time, man. Again, I drank too much, but we had fun. A lot of times when I'm hanging with Robbie, we drink too much, like at the Scarefest.
Dude, Robert England, me and you and him are going to get shit-faced this year at Scarefest, bro.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Now we need to get them to bring Warwick Davis in. That's what we're missing. If we meet Robert England, that's on like my bucket list. But dude, Warwick's on my bucket list because of my childhood in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know he does
Willow and Jedi and all that shit.
Yeah, he does a bunch of cons. Why not Scarefest? Or a pop culture show here in town would be great.
Dude, that would be perfect. Joe, you got a lot of stuff coming up, man. Thank you for being here. Final thoughts. What you got coming up?
Thank you for having me. It was just final order cutoff, I believe, for Green Hornet Miss Fury #4. So that's coming up. It's going to be 5 issues. So get on that, people who like Green Hornet and Miss Fury. And I'm telling you, Federico Ceresa, the artist on this book, he's going places. You're going to see him. He's probably going to be doing Big 2 stuff for the next couple of years. It'd be insane if he wasn't. So, get in on the ground floor. This is his legit first, North American published work. Get in on that. So you can be a douchebag about it later and be like, well, I, was a fan before you guys. So get in on that. I'm telling you. And then King Arthur and the Knights of Justice Volume 2 out in June. Morgana's Revenge. You can get Volume 1 now if you haven't yet and get ready for Volume 2. And then I have a bunch of other stuff I'm working on that hopefully will be announced in the next few months. So,
hell yeah. Well, thank you for being here for Leprechaun, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Brooks, we love you. Thank you so much. Final thoughts, my man.
Well, just Bagora. I need to go check on the pot of gold. See, I was the leprechaun the whole time. You see.
Oh, shoot. That's scary.
Okay. For my final thoughts, I got a bunch of shows coming up. Tomorrow night, I'll be on One Collection Down at 8 p.m. Central Time to talk about Fight Club. I'll be over at Blood Splatter Chatter at 8 p.m. Central Time on Thursday to talk about Reanimator. I'll be over at Dylan's Horror Show at 9:30 p.m. Central Time to talk about The Babadook. And next week here for Mother, a movie I've never seen. I'm very excited to check it out. But I've been thinking about things today, y'all. I don't want to get too real before the end of the show. I know everybody's tired. It's been a long day. We are in our 10th year of PCP.
That's why it's the X.
I feel, yeah. That's why, like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like I'm putting in a lot of work and I don't feel like a lot of appreciation from some people, you know? And starting to wear me down just a little bit. But you know what? I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be okay. I think there's a new generation coming up and I think they're going to be A-okay. Anyway, my final thoughts are good luck. Luck of the Irish. Get my pot of gold. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about shit.